So, welcome back to Behind the Boards, the podcast where we talk real life in estate agency, the wins, the chaos, the funny stories, and the stuff no one tells you about in the job. And today I'm joined by Paul Leslie from Leslie and Co. How are you, Paul?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good. How's your start of the year been?
Busy, yeah, really, really busy. Genuinely. Yeah, I think we're looking at maybe a little bit of boring stability, which will be nice.
Yeah, I think that's something we all need, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, since Brexit, I think it's just been, yeah. What do they call it? I can't remember. Is it a poly crisis or something like that? I don't know. There's a
Yeah,
name for it, but yeah, it's just been one thing after the next, and
yeah, good stuff, good stuff. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast anyway. Obviously, this is going out to seasoned agents and new agents that are looking to potentially join the self-employed world. So, what I'd like to know is, how did you first get into the industry, mate?
by accident, like a lot of people, but much later in life, like not many people. So I was like a variety of jobs. I started with London Transport because my dad filled out my application form and made me get a job at 17, just going on 18. So I was 18 when I started with them. I'd previously done a bit of bar work. So yeah, like that was, you know, London Underground, King's Cross Station before it was redeveloped. Mainly chasing tickets out of out of the forecourt. So yeah, it's very sort of a rude awakening to customer service, but some brilliant training there. Worked with some amazing people. And then I lost my dad in 2006. I was 24, so I'd been with London Transport about 6 years. And I just decided that because of that experience, that tragedy, I guess, he was 50, that I wanted to forge a career somewhere. So I wanted to like learn and then build a career. So I decided that my only B grade at GCSE was was maths. So I thought, oh, I was like, that must mean accountancy is the thing for me. So I spoke to a friend. He got me into a company called Kingston Smith, which were top 20 UK firm, and I studied an AAT qualification alongside working for them.
Yeah,
To be honest with you, I loved like that qualification, but I was just no good at audit. Found it incredibly tedious and boring. But I was there 2 years, finished the qualification, which is, lo and behold, has become really valuable in terms of business ownership. And then what did I do? Oh, and then I worked for the Football Association for a bit. So I was doing
oh, wow, okay.
in like a local organizational role, setting up like cup competitions and appointing referees. Did that for 4 or 5 years, I think, and then I went into international relocation. I started off office-based, supporting people with their moves from anywhere across the world, really, to London and the home counties, and then moved into a more operational role where I was actually on the ground, taking them to a series of properties on a given day, giving them independent advice, moaning about estate agents with them. And then
Yeah,
I found out my partner at the time was pregnant with my son, Raf. Again, had that, I suppose, that life-changing event where I decided I needed something a bit more career focused, and approached some of the agents that I built up relationships with through the home search consultancy role. And I was
yeah,
offered a couple of bits. I was offered a sales role with Marshall Parsons in Barnes. I was offered something in with Dexter's, but I chose to go with Savills because they were like walking distance to my place at the time in Ealing. And then so sort of fell into agency, and then I think, as any half decent agent does, I progressed quite quickly within the organisation, and maybe stood out a little bit, and then found myself in a managerial role that I didn't really enjoy or wasn't accustomed to.
yeah.
And then COVID hit, which was obviously crazy for everyone. I I've got to be careful what I say, because this goes
No,
out
no, say what
there.
you need to say.
We had a difference of opinion as to how COVID was handled, and we decided to have a mutual parting of the ways in June 2020. So July 2020, I set up my own business, and then that's the first time around that period when I was kind of looking at my next move. I'd never heard of Keller Williams before. So somebody said I should speak to them, and then I was like, oh my God, this is something that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to have my own estate agency business, and I can do it with next to no startup costs, and then just kind of pay away a franchise as you earn. So that's how that came about. And then I decided to have a brand alongside that, just because, again, if I don't know, probably based on the experience with Savills, if I fell out with somebody at Keller Williams, I felt like I needed to be able to just have total control and to be able to pivot. That comes with additional expenses, which maybe in hindsight I wouldn't do the same again. But that formed the imaginatively named Leslie and Co. And then like days, it's like thinking, what should we call it? And I had all these weird and wonderful ways of, I don't know, anyway, initials and first and middle name and sons and stuff like that. But I just went for bog standard surname and Co. And then so that's been going for now, coming up to 6 years. And I think because of frustrations around the way the industry is handled and the way the service is delivered, I think our offering has been really well received. So it's been fairly successful.
Yeah, no, I've been looking at your website and it's got some nice properties on there, and it looks smart, mate. I'm really impressed with what you're putting out there at the minute. So,
thank you, mate.
Keep up the good work. So, what was your main drive then, going into like the self-employed world rather than just going alone on your own? What was it? The cost, or was it that you needed someone behind you?
I think it was. I think the cost largely. I'd spoken to kind of a few people that are much more experienced in agency than I was, and they said, set up for example, a Winkworth franchise, £500,000 or whatever, or £250,000. I know you can leverage finance against that, but still, that's a very scary number. And also for a brand that I wasn't in love with, Winkworth or Hunters or whatever it might be. I'm not. So I wanted to create my own thing, and I wanted to do it my way, and I wanted to have control, I guess. And I think that's why people decide to do it, be an entrepreneur. They feel that they've got something to offer and they want to do it their way. So I think that's the reason that I went down the Keller Williams route. Also, I think it's a really lonely existence as well.
Absolutely.
And being part of a network that you don't have to. I know probably not so much anymore, but when previous people were at the helm of Keller, felt that it could be a bit culty, but you can buy into like none of it, all of it, or somewhere in the middle. It's completely up to you, and I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting, because I started about 4 years ago. No, 5 years ago in March actually, and it felt very lonely then, but I did know that I could speak to people within the Keller Williams network. But since there's been changes in KW UK, I do feel it's a lot better now. Even in the past year, I'm seeing a big, massive change in the agents that are coming on board, the support we're getting, and things like that. So it's funny that you've mentioned that as well, and the change in the helm. So I definitely agree with that. Definitely agree.
It's no disrespect to those people. They're doing what they think's best at the time, and probably with the best of intentions for the greater good, but just for whatever reasons perhaps hasn't worked. And I think it's interesting what you say there, because if you felt that over the last kind of 6 to 12 months or however long it's been, then it's good, because it would suggest the people currently there have learned lessons from the past.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot more conversations, and it feels a lot more like a team, even though we've got our own businesses to run. So no, it's become a joy to be involved with all the Keller Williams stuff again. That's for sure. So
great. And just having like the market centre days, or getting together with somebody, even going to a shared working space or a coffee shop and working with somebody else, you might just either you'll take away a nugget from a market centre day and then implement it, and it could be a game changer for your business, or it just might make things a tiny bit easier or better. Or you might hear somebody like a peer say something on the phone that you just think, wow, why am I not doing that? And then that's why I've stayed. I've explained why I joined. The reason I stay is because I want to be part of the network. I want to learn from the likes of you, Adam Pennell, lots of Dominic Marcel's incredible agent, Michael Bailey, loads of them that we've got access to for free. And also want to try and give something back to the people that were, shaking at the thought of not having a regular income.
I love that. I love that. Well, that brings me on to a question I wasn't going to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I felt in the past 5 years, especially with Keller, we were introducing some of the wrong agents within the first couple of years in my period. But I do still believe that there are good agents out there that can come fresh into this industry. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think you need to go and work somewhere else first, or do you think you could come into this as an entrepreneur and go straight for it?
I think you can do both, and I think that's where maybe the gap is. And I think again, when we had the ALC, which was, for anyone who's not Keller Williams, doesn't know the jargon, it's the Agent Leadership Council. So agents get together and try and improve the offering for fellow agents and newbies, existing oldies, if there are any. But yeah, I think that you can. If it were me, I would have looked at perhaps either the best local independent agent, whether that's an organisation or a person, and I'd have gone to them and said, "Do you know what? I'll work self-employed. You just give me leads, and I'll take 50% of, and I'll back myself to. If I've got leads, I'll convert them into listings, and then I'll give them the right advice, and then I'll get buyers, and then I'll convert that into a pipeline, and eventually I'll have regular income." And I think you can potentially do that if you. I don't know if there's a self-employed agent out there or somebody in Ealing that's thinking of doing it. Why don't they drop me an email, pick up the phone to me, and just go, "Do you know what? I'm going to back myself to generate my own leads, but also to convert a load of yours." And I'd love to have that conversation. So I think that's almost like the halfway house. And then you can either do one of two things. You can, and if you look at Lion Estates and Don Marcel's team, the reason none of them want to leave is because their camaraderie and their earning potential is much higher by being part of that organisation than branching out onto their own and having all of the overheads and all of the the administrative burdens, and getting 80% of a much less obtainable number is worse than getting 50% of a really obtainable number. So I think that's the key thing. And otherwise I think I've seen there's lots of people that are setting up their own businesses. I think that's really, really tough. The costs they mount up really, really quickly. It's scary how much the portals charge you, and then all of the tech and stuff like that. And I mean, to those people that are thinking about doing it, it's going to be the way forward. It's going to be the norm. Like self-employed agency or realtors in the UK is going to be the norm. You'll see that bigger agents will start to have broker models. I mean, I think Stratton Parker are introducing that already. I think Sotheby's have got both employed and self-employed agents. So that it's going to take over. There's no two ways about it. You can either be at the front of it, or you can wait and try and play catch up with all the people that were brave enough to take the jump before you.
Yeah. Absolutely, and just seeing what's happening over the past couple of years, not just with Keller, with all the others as well. But I do think there's some commentary that's out there that I do think is wrong, and you raised it with the overheads of having your own business and things. So if you're looking to jump into it, don't be scared to approach people who are already doing it and seeing if they can help you along with 100%. Leads and how to do it. And you can always break off and do your own thing if you wanted to, couldn't you? Right?
That's exactly it. Yeah, and I think that's. I mean, again, there's a multitude of problems with agency and the process in this country. But another one of those is that a lot of the big players, and take my ex-employers and Dexter's or whoever it might be, you get institutionalized to say that your organization is the best, and basically to sneer at the other agencies or other brands or other people on the high street that are walking past. So that's why I think people within those employed roles are really reluctant. They're sort of brainwashed into thinking their current organisation is the only way to do this, and everyone else is rubbish. Whereas I think if we work more towards the Americans and the Australians, where there's real collaboration between agencies, what they say, at the top people are collaborating, at the bottom they're competing. And I think that's the problem. One of the fundamental problems within estate agency in the UK is, again, even there's very little collaboration between EXP Keller or Movelli or whatever the other self-employed, the Agency UK, whatever other self-employed models that there are out there, it's, oh, we're the best. Like, don't go to them, they're rubbish. It's like, we're the biggest. Don't go to them. Their numbers are like, let's just stop all that. Like, you've got your value proposition, concentrate on what you're good at, and then just collaborate with everyone. Like, everyone's, I mean, candidly, rightly or wrongly, and I'll just, say how it is and what I think. I will, if I have got a referral opportunity, the first thing is I'll go to the KW UK website and see if there's a decent agent that I can put, somebody that's, we've, because I'm not gonna risk our reputation on somebody that I don't trust that will do a brilliant job.
Get that.
So I look at the KW, is there somebody brilliant that I can put them in touch with, that I can hang my hat on, that will do a good job? And if there's nobody in that area, I'll look at the EXP website and see if there's a person that I can go to, or I'll look at one of our affiliates within the Ethical Agent Network or the Federation of Independent Agents. But, I haven't got any qualms with saying to an EXP agent, listen, there's an opportunity. In fact, we've literally done one very recently where we're trying to repatch a chain. They're on with a corporate high street agent, and we've put them in touch with an EXP agent just to get the job done.
I think that's where good agents come into it, though, because you don't care what brand. Well, you do care a little bit, but it's not about the brand that's behind you. It's about what you're doing for that customer and that client.
100%.
I'm very much the same, and you hear over socials banging on the drum that we're the best, we're that. But actually, I do respect quite a lot of agents in other different networks as well, and I have reached out to them myself for that referral business and making sure that the job's being done. Because the main focus is make sure the job's being done, because it's still your reputation, right? Even if you pass it to someone else.
Completely.
So you need to make sure that it's all going okay. So did you make any mistakes in your first 12 months then in your setup?
Still making loads today. I mean, the biggest one was I thought everyone is, every agent we go to, like some of those market center days or mastermind days, with really, really accomplished agents, and everyone's still looking for a silver bullet. Everyone still thinks it's out there. It doesn't exist. We've got to stop believing that it's going to even be produced. But I thought in the first, sort of in the infancy of the agency, I thought I'd found it. I was working with a rent-to-rent provider early on at my days with Savills, and they were advertising their rooms on like Open Rent Gumtree and stuff like that, but they didn't have access to Rightmove. So all of a sudden I've got this, the golden ticket of Rightmove access. So I was like, right, I'm good. This is just going to, like, instant success here. I'm going to list your rooms on Rightmove.
Yeah.
So I did that, and it was horrendous. People thinking it was the whole house. We had, the amount of no shows, and like, it was just, and it took me away from doing like actual decent work that could, get the business off the ground. So that was a massive mistake. As I say, loads and loads of them invested a huge amount in lead generation tools that gave me lots and lots of leads, but the quality of them were really, really poor. And I didn't pull the plug on that quickly enough. If I told people what I spent on that, they'd be absolutely horrified. And don't get me wrong, still, I'm a sucker as a sales person, although I think we're more customer service based, but salespeople are the easiest to be sold to. So if anyone comes to me and proposes this new shiny gadget, I am an absolute sucker for that. So I've signed up for some fairly and I didn't realize as well, I'll tell you this is, and Adam Pennell will tell you this as well, like business to business contracts, there's zero protection. So like there's no cooling off period. So if you sign up, I signed up with a company like a review management platform, and I was stuck with them for 12 months. There's a lot of auto roll-ons. So people like, fledgling business people or entrepreneurs should be careful of that. But so I've made mistakes, and still continue to make some, but hopefully not the same ones. I remember one of the key things I learned at school was I had a teacher that said, I don't care if you make a million mistakes, just don't make the same one twice.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's the same with everyone. I bang about that all the time. Don't spend money on shit, because that's what it is. You've got your phone, you've got numbers, you've got people you can talk to. that should be where you're starting, not looking for the silver bullet. The amount of people that
100%.
come to me asking for different ideas. What do you think to this? What do you think to that? I mean, I've sponsored all sorts in my first year when people didn't even know me. So why was I even sponsoring these events and whatnot? And likewise, I spent a lot of money that I shouldn't have spent. I should have just got on the phone, got out there, and just shown people who I was.
100%. Yeah. And if you think about just that phone and that database piece, there's people that you can work with that will give you a system in terms of just, not having calling through all your A's, or like, just having a system where you call through different parts of your phone book, hold you accountable, give you certain scripts and questions that can maybe open the door to opportunities. That's where you should spend your time, not like waiting for a student to turn up to a room viewing, in the pissing rain on a February Sunday or whatever I was doing.
That's it. Well, we're coming to the end now, so just a couple more questions I want to ask you. One, I want to be a little bit more light-hearted. So I had a funny story from Adam last week when I spoke to him, but have you got any funny stories, any funny scenarios? And go wild if you have.
To be honest with you, I haven't got any like standout funny moment, and probably what people would find funny. I mean, we've had sellers where we're not getting like any inquiries, no viewings. Oh yeah, we should definitely put the price up. And I was like, sorry, because then it leaves some room for negotiation. Yeah, but you don't realise like it's a very sort of simple metric here. We need the listing or the advert to generate inquiries, and then those inquiries turn into viewings, and those viewings can turn into offers. We've got nothing going into the funnel. Like making the funnel even smaller is not going to help us. My one of my best mates and my colleagues behind us, he had this unfortunately wasn't with us, but it's a brilliant story for an agent. So he was there was a developer in Ealing called Uplift, and they were all about kind of making their developments. They were beautiful period conversions, really tastefully done, and then they would try and have like either an allotment out the back or a little patch of an allotment. So the idea was kind of this self-sufficiency within the like development. And this person that had bought one and then was going through the resale had started growing tomatoes in the in this thing. And then this viewing of, apparently Alistair tells it much better than I do, but the viewing had gone really, really well. And then sort of like as the pièce de résistance, I know I've got that wrong, fiesta or whatever it's called, to sort of like seal the deal, he's then like pulled out this like drawer of like, look at these homegrown tomatoes that this person's grown in their own little allotment. But this person has got a little known like phobia of tomatoes.
Oh wow!
Like an actual phobia. So he's like going all like back to he's like, oh god, they're all different shapes and colours. Yeah, so he's like but yeah, I haven't had anything as kind of weird or strange as that. It'd be as soon as we come off this call, I'll think of something that I should have probably said, but
no, I'm sure you will. But that's strange enough, to be fair, about tomatoes. But I thought that's where you were going, to be fair, when you started. I mean, being self-sufficient and putting that in with a deal, that is a first for me.
Yeah,
that is a first. So one more question: what is the best advice that you've been given then in the property industry? Can you think of anything at all that someone's given you?
I think Craig Deloy, he's been a massive part of our journey. I consider him one of my closest friends. He's a coach that we use all the time. Yeah. As somebody I talk to on both a business and a personal level. He says, why would you join your club? You've got to tell people why they should join your club, and then why should they stay? So that's something that I always think about. Like, why would a customer like believe us, join our journey? And then what have we got to do to make them stay? So why would they join? Why should they stay? That's all I ever think about constantly. And I think any new agent that's thinking about doing it, whether it's by themselves, franchise, under an umbrella brand, whatever it might be, like what are you bringing to the table that's going to attract people and customers? And what are you going to do to ensure that they stay? And I think if you focus on those two things, you won't go far wrong.
Yeah, I think that comes the same. I love that, and I think that comes the same with agency and who you're choosing as well. And if you bring in an agent yourself, you want them to be a part of your club, so make sure that they love it and
Yeah, it
stay
works in all. Yeah, absolutely, it works
in all.
totally.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for coming on today, Paul.
Well,
I know
thank you
you're
for
a busy
having me.
man, and I hope the rest of the year goes really well for you. And if anyone's got any questions, I'm sure they can reach out to you if they want to speak to you.
Definitely.
Excellent. Well, thanks again, and
All right, mate.
speak to you soon.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.